Hello, and welcome to another episode of the FRC Team 6705 Wildcat 5e safety training videos. And today we're going to be talking about the safety data sheet binder and the emergency binder. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the safety data sheet binder. This information is from the first manual from our team's actual large safety binder, which was covered in the previous video. And so it says that the safety data sheet binder, the safety data sheet each team is required to have. It is used for any chemicals, chemical compounds, or chemical mixtures used by the team. The information may include instructions for the safe use and potential hazards associated with a particular material or product. And that is basically what the safety data sheet should cover. The safety data sheet should be for information relating to all the chemical compounds used on working with your robot or on your robot directly, including like Loctite or glue, for example, and for our team, like the battery and tapping fluid and grease. Any chemical compound that you have worked with while creating your robot. And so the purpose of the safety data sheet is to maintain the ability to have accurate manufacturer information on the safe use and hazards and treatment or associated with the various chemicals. And so the first thing you want to do is get all the chemicals you've used throughout the season and find the safety data sheets that are associated with each one, which I'll talk about in a couple minutes. And so after you have done that, you should put them in a binder so they're very easy to locate in case of emergency, in case anything relating to those specific chemicals arise. You can go to your safety data sheet and find the specific information of the hazards and treatment associated. And so once you have put them in binder, one thing that you should emphasize is efficiency, because efficiency is one of the main things you need to practice in terms of a crisis in an emergency. And so because of that, you should have a table of contents and tabs to be able to easily flip and locate the various materials you need. And again, you probably should have it in alphabetical order, for example. So it's a lot easier to locate and decreases the time between treating the emergency and finding the information. And so, for example, greasing the gearbox. So number 3. So that is from Lucas Oil Product Inks, from Lucas Red and Tacky number 2 grease. And so this includes various hazards identifications and potential health effects, such as excessive exposure may result in eye, skin, or respiratory irritation, and then talks about first aid measures relating to inhalation and skin contact, eye contact, and ingestion, and also includes more specific information such as firefighting, and then handling and storage, and then just various exposure and personal protection equipment that you should use while, working with it. And just includes some other information that you need to know, such as the other chemical or physical properties, and in case if it's reactive, in case it's like radioactive, which hopefully it is not. And just other toxicological information, and just ecological, and how to dispose it properly. This is not for the grease particularly, but for just in general. This is more useful for locating with your battery on how to dispose it properly. Like for your battery spill kit, you need to look at your safety data sheet on what the proper measures are to dispose it properly, and safely as well. And so for the safety data sheet, to find this info, what you need to do is what I find at least is the easiest to do for your safety program is to list the material and list the chemical compounds, the chemical materials that you've used throughout the season. Make a list of them, put them on a document, and then look them up, and wherever you bought them at, even possibly just some other hardware store website, it will have under like a tab called other information or product details, for example. It will have a safety data sheet which you can easily download and print out. And so that is basically how you can find that information for each one, and you need to do this each year to keep it updated, specifically pertaining to your robot creation for each year, to make sure it is accurate and concise, so you do not waste time with extra information you do not need, and you can easily locate all the information you do need in case of emergency. And so the next binder besides the SDS is the emergency binder. The emergency binder covers emergencies. Basically, is all the first aid procedures that you should do once an emergency arises. And so what you should do to get this information, first off, is find a reputable source that covers a variety of topics on first aid. We use the Mayo Clinic, as you can see here. Make sure you cite them properly. And also make sure when it says they were last updated by, to make sure you just have all the accurate information. And so once you have all that, you want to put the information probably into some sort of document. We use the Google document, and to format all of it to make sure all the information we wanted was on it. And then you want to put it in a big binder with a table of contents in alphabetical order to make it easier to see. And you can have them correspond to each page number. For example, anaphylactis is 1, CPR is 4. Is 4. And so I want to make sure it's really easy to find out, because one of the main things you need to do in case of emergency is, again, stated efficiency. Efficiency is really important because, for example, if somebody's having a stroke, you need to get them you need to do some first aid instructions very quickly. You need to go to the emergency binder straight away, and you need to know it's on page 27. And so we have these tabs. What we're probably going to do as a team is just make sure that might get rid of the lamination because it sometimes covers the tabs. So you have tab 27, for example. So you can flip to your tab, and then according to the Mayo Clinic, you do all the procedures you need to do until an EMT arrives, until another safety advisor arrives, and then in that case they will take over. For example, for stroke, you want to do, according to Mayo Clinic, use this acronym FAST to help remember warning signs to locate if they're actually having a stroke, such as, does the face drop on one side? Can the person repeat a simple sentence, for example? And then just other signs to include as well. And that, for example, that'd be the example for a stroke. And for example, for an object in the skin, if you want to seek prompt medical help, first and foremost, you want to alert somebody, the safety team, the actual safety advisors there at the competition. You want to get them as well as your own team and your own emergency binder, and to see how to actually treat it first. And so in the meantime, while you're waiting, you want to make sure you do not remove the object. You want to bandage the wound, and you want to just do whatever research you found says to do. So that is why the emergency binder is really important to have, and really important to have to organize efficiently, is because in the little glimpses of time between locating the emergency and treating it, you want to make sure that when you have the emergency binder and you're still waiting for professional help to arrive, you can make sure you can do the very basic stuff you need to do to help protect the person and potentially save their life. So one last thing is that I want to thank our sponsors, thank our 2020 sponsors for Team 6705, Wildcat 5e. I want to thank GPS Hospitality, AXA, XL Insurance Reinsurance, Griffith Engineering, and Vision Metals. I want to thank all our sponsors. I want to thank you for listening.